Good evening, everyone. This is Brendan Magnan, Chair of the Inlands Wetlands Commission. Welcome to the April 5th regular Inlands Wetlands meeting. Lisa, could you please call the roll?
Ranjit Bahav, Daniel Bedeker.
Here.
Jim Connors.
Jim, you're on mute. I think you are.
I'm muted again.
No, you're fine now.
Now you're good.
We can hear you now.
Okay.
Matthew Connors, Dave D. Flamery, Heather Donaldson Gladue,
Here.
Steve Munson,
Here.
Lisa Tryon, Judy Valvo.
It's Julie. I'm here.
Oh, Julie, I'm sorry. It's
That's
typed
okay.
as Judy.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you.
Okay. And Brenda Magnan.
Here. Lisa, just make sure your mic is working. Can we hear you? Lisa, try.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, no, I just want to make sure. Great. Thank you, everyone. At this time, I'd like to remind everyone as we continue to host remote meetings that in order to make sure that the business of the agency runs efficiently, and then we comply with all statutory and administrative rules in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act and Governor Lamont's executive orders, this meeting will be is being recorded and will be made available on the City of Milford website. During this meeting, if members of the commission or members of the public would like to speak, please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. All participants are asked to be on mute during the meeting unless recognized by me. When you are recognized, please state your name and address prior to making a statement. At this time, I'd like to invite everyone to take themselves off mute and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mary Rose, the flag. Thank you. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
which
it stands one nation
under God,
indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Thank you for joining. If everyone can go back on mute. At this time, I'd like to open it up for public comments limited to 5 minutes on topics not otherwise on the agenda. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak on topics not otherwise on the agenda? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, moving on. Item D, new business, that's IW 230015, 32 Alexander Road. Mary Rose, could you please introduce this one?
I just share my screen so you can see the plan for the site as I'm speaking. There we go. Sorry about that. There we go. Right, this is 32 Alexander Road. It's IW 230015. It's an application by Alex Perini for a one-story addition within 100 feet of a wetland and watercourse in the Indian River watershed. The proposed addition is within 52 feet of Carl's Brook, which is along the right-hand side of the property. As you can see, it's labeled Brook on the plan. The applicant has silt fencing proposed between the work and the brook to protect the resource. I visited the site on March 31st with Mr. Perini, and my site walk notes and photos of the property were in the document links. If I can change the screen now, I'll show you, just so you can visualize, this is where the addition is proposed. This is the rear of the home, garage, sheds over here, the residence, and there's a door here, first floor, a below level door here. And then this is the proposed addition. And if we change screens, this is standing approximately where the back of that addition would be, looking out at the yard. The brook is on the other side of this black metal fence. This is, turned a little bit. You can see a little bit more of the fence and of the yard. You can start to see the house. Now we're out standing next to the fence. Wetland flag number 7 is this pink line right here. The addition comes out from this door about, I believe it was 28 feet, and then comes over to the edge of the garage. And this is, you can see the rest of the yard. The addition finishes behind the garage. So we're talking about work in this area here. Silt fencing would come between the work and the fire pit seating area to protect the resources on the site.
Ms. Quinlan, could you please mute your line? Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Okay. So the applicant has proposed on their site plan and MS4, in compliance with MS4, a galley system that will be over here between the shed and the house. When I was on site with Mr. Perini, he's considering switching to a rain garden system, but he'll look at that. Right now, he has an approved engineered galley system that the city engineer has looked at. And if he wants to switch that, he'll have that reviewed with the city engineer before the project finishes up. Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Perini is here this evening, and this is the location of the silt fencing. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Perini this evening?
Actually, before we entertain questions, if I may, Mr. Perini, could you just state your name for the record, and do you want to add anything to the record in addition to what Mary Rose already stated?
She pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything. And my name's Alex Perini. So I live at 32 Alexander Road.
Okay. Questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Munson.
yeah, just question about the hot tub. I understand, will the filling and the draining of the hot tub basically go into the existing system?
The hot tub, to my knowledge, is existing. Under DEP requirements, any water from a pool or a hot tub or spa is considered wastewater, sanitary sewage. So it needs to go into a system in the ground or be discharged across grass, not onto your neighbor's property, not into a water course, and not into a catch basin. With permission, it can be put into a sanitary sewer line.
Okay. As far as through you, Mr. Chairman, will there be any additional plumbing in the proposed addition? Or if there is, I assume that would also go into the existing system.
There is no additional plumbing in the addition.
Okay. That answers that. Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Munson. Any other questions from the commissioners?
I don't think I think it's a pretty straightforward plan that could interfere with much of anything.
Okay, this evening we can ask questions. We can request additional information. We can schedule a site walk. We can schedule a public hearing. However, as this is the first time we are hearing the application, we cannot take any other action. Does everybody feel the same as Mr. Connors, that this is pretty straightforward, that we don't need a site walk, we don't need to consider a public hearing?
Yes, I agree with you, Brendan.
Thank you, Commissioner Donaldson Bodu. Great. If there's no additional information required for the applicant, we can move on to the next matter. Mr. Perini, thank you for coming before us. We'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you very much, guys.
Mary Rose, can you introduce D2, please?
Sure. Give me a second. There we go. Just wanted to share the screen so you can see the next proposed site. Item D2 is 23009 40 Morehouse Avenue. It's an application by Cheryl Quinlan to elevate a single-family home in place at 40 Morehouse with decks and stairs for access within approximately 52 feet of a wetland and approximately 58 feet of a watercourse. This is in the South Central Shoreline watershed. Ms. Quinlan's soil scientist could not be here this evening, but did flag the wetlands on 3/30/23. Those flags are not on the plan in the document links. The wetland line shown on the submitted map is not attributed to a soil scientist or map. I believe it's probably off of the 1965 soil survey. Ms. Quinlan is working to get an A2T2 survey showing the current wetland flagging and the proposed location of the access stairs and decks, and any stormwater improvements that may be required by the city engineer, as well as soil erosion, sedimentation controls, and any grade changes. I visited this site on April 3rd, and my site walk notes were in the links, but I can show you the photos. In this photo, I'm standing at the rear of the house, pretty much in this area here, if you can see the mouse moving. Oops. Here. And the wetland flags are placed along this railing, along this planter in the back of the lot. I believe this is 1, 2, and 3 on Mr. Dander's report. And this is standing in the back along that planter, looking at Mrs. Quinlan's home. And this is the water course that's on the other side of that railing. Just for location purposes, if we can do this, there we go. This is the property here. This gray area is that the stone, and that line there is the planter and roughly the wetland line. And this is the yard area. The house is proposed to be elevated in place. There'll be a deck in the back, deck in the front, and some access stairs in order to be able to access the now elevated home. Mrs. Quinlan is here this evening if anyone has any questions.
Thank you for that orientation, Mayor Rose. Ms. Quinlan, do you want to add anything to the record? Please state your name for the record.
Cheryl Quinlan. Yes, thanks for this opportunity for me to introduce myself. And I just want to give you a real quick overview of what's been happening. And I own this I own this home with my partner, Thomas Lockwood, who was also here. So we bought this house in March of 21, and unbeknownst to us, we applied for a permit to put a roof on it in the summer of 22, and surprisingly got a call from Joe Griffith that the home was red flagged by FEMA to be raised, to be lifted. We had no idea about this when we bought the house. Wasn't divulged to us by realtor, attorney, seller, anyone. So we were shocked. We started to work on this back right away, and we interviewed a number of, it's been quite a learning experience. It's pretty complicated, as you might know, and never having had to deal with anything like this. We've had numerous meetings with all sorts of contractors. So finally, when we felt that we had a viable contractor, I came down and did a building permit, and then found out I needed an inland wetland permit. Initially, the prior, this probably doesn't matter, but I'll just try to give you a really quick overview. The prior owner, there were letters in planning and zoning to the prior owner, 2 letters that said the home was flooded during Sandy. He could not renovate it. He had to lift the house. He ignored the letters. He renovated the house, didn't get permits, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so fast forward, we finally found a contractor. I put a building permit in, found out I had to do inland wetland, and then Mary Rose sent me a letter on February 17th, outlining what we had to do. Oops, did I do something?
No, I'm just
Oh, okay.
moving the letter.
So pretty shocked when I got that letter because it was all Greek to me. Anyway, moving on, we had the soil survey done, and we've been searching for someone to do the A2 survey with T2 accuracy. I've called a number of people, some don't call back. We had an A2 done a year ago. That contractor said he was too busy. Anyway, we're working our way through it. We got one quote to do this work that was $14,000, which kind of knocked our socks off. So anyway, I'm hoping to hear from someone tomorrow and have the survey done. And we had an elevation, that's another thing we did. We had an elevation certificate done. I understand we have to do one after we lift it, but we understand that the town of Milford has to be FEMA compliant. And we understand, I was an insurance agent, we understand to stay FEMA compliant and to get the residents of Milford the discounts they're getting, that it's very important to the town. So we are trying to comply. I am very concerned, we are very concerned about how slowly this is going, because I hope we don't lose our contractor, and the house is vacant. We have insurance issues as well. So we'll do everything we can to move forward, and would appreciate any help we can get on your side, because I don't know how to put this. This is a very large unexpected expense for us. And we wouldn't have bought the home if we had known this. I don't know how else to put it.
So thanks, Ms. Quinlan. Our purview is the wetlands. We won't be discussing the building permit at all.
Right.
That's between you and the city. Mayor Rose, if you don't mind just putting back the plan that you reviewed before.
I'm sorry, I left one thing out, which probably doesn't matter, but part of the delay when I got the letter from Mary Rose was we found that the prior owner had applied to inland wetlands and had been approved. So we initially thought we might be able to rest on that, but I guess it was too long ago.
Okay. You're here before us now. There's a statutory requirement to come before. Connecticut state law requires you to come before us when you're doing what's considered regulated activity, which this is. You're elevating a home, you're doing construction in and around a wetland. We're obligated to balance the needs of the homeowners with the wetlands, and we are citizens ourselves. So Mary Rose is going to guide us through the process. There's a process. The statutory requirement governs how long this process will take. For example, tonight, we're not going to take any action on this. It's coming before us for the first time. That's legally the requirement. So our purview is to ask questions in regards to protecting the inland resource, as I'm sure Mary Rose has already told you. The question I guess I have is, as you're contemplating the plans for the elevated home, are you intending at all to encroach closer to the wetlands? Is the property itself going to be in any way coming closer to the wetlands?
No, other than the fact that we were going to add a deck in the backyard. No, the basic footprint of the house is not moving.
Okay. And did you say a deck or a patio? Because right now
deck,
there's
a deck.
There's already a patio in the back, which is going to be taken out.
Okay. And do you have these plans defined yet, or did I hear that was still being developed?
We do have a building plan. A building plan.
Okay, where is that in this application as far as the footprint? In terms of where the footprint is going to be in relation to the wetlands?
The footprint is the same.
Well, not based on the deck that you're contemplating putting on.
Oh, the footprint of the deck?
I mean, the perimeter of the structure.
You mean the footprint of the home is the same, but you're saying the deck is different?
Yeah, I mean, your deck is going to be coming closer to the wetlands by how much? 12 feet, 20 feet?
12, the width of the house and 14 feet back. I
Okay.
just finished a plan and we can get that sent to you.
Okay, so 14 feet is your intention. Okay. So Mary Rose, help us.
No, 12 feet. 18 by 12.
Okay,
18 is the width of the house. And then 12 feet with probably 2 sonotubes going into the soil
okay.
at frost level.
And do you have any intentions of changing anything in the area of the railing or where the shed is?
There is no shed right now. There isn't a shed.
The shed was taken down.
Okay. How about the first question on the railings?
The railing, we have no thought on. You mean back by the swamp?
Yeah, where the wetland flags are marked. Or do you have any intentions of modifying that at all?
No.
Okay. Any other questions for the commissioner, from the commissioners for this applicant? Mr. Munson?
Yeah, if I see this properly, there's no increase in impervious surface. Is that correct?
No,
You're
I'm
breaking up
sorry.
a little bit, but the question, just for the record, is,
Yeah.
are you increasing the impervious,
No.
footage? Okay,
no, the house is going to be raised in this exact same foundation dimension it is now.
Okay.
any
Thank
other,
you, Brandon, to the applicant,
hold on 1 second,
if I may.
hold on 1 second.
What's gonna be under the deck? What type of,
The same patio.
gravel, grass?
Oh,
Whatever it is, it will be pervious. It'd be like crushed stone or pervious concrete, pervious pavement. We're taking out a concrete slab that's already there. That's the width of the house and probably about same as a deck, 12 feet.
Mr. Connors, did that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Commissioner Tryon?
Yeah, I think my question is very similar. When you raise the house, what will be under the house? Is it all going to be gravel? What's going to be under the house?
A garage, be a concrete slab.
Concrete slab.
Yes,
Okay. So that is impervious.
we can't hear you.
So that is an impervious surface that you're adding underneath the house.
Underneath the house, yes.
But the
But-
roof is impervious surface, so it's still really different than what's there now.
Right. What about the drainage plan to follow on Commissioner Tryon's line of thinking? What is the drainage plan with regard to the roof, water?
Yeah, right now it's just falling off the roof right now. So either rain barrels, I guess. That was, I don't think was ever designed.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I had referred Ms. Quinlan down to the city engineer to discuss if they needed to, since they don't appear, because we don't have the final plan yet, but they don't appear to want to increase the impervious surface if he's going to require stormwater infiltration per MS4. And I don't know that he's come up with an answer yet.
So translating that to the applicant, that needs to be decided before we can vote on this application. So in other words, you need to resolve any of the engineering questions before we can approve or consider approving this application.
Okay, so that's something that, let me see if I understand this. Is this something when we give the A2 survey with T2 accuracy to the city, that then they'll tell us what we have to do?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Quinlan, when you went down and talked to the city engineer yesterday,
Right,
Mr. Podolski,
right.
did he tell you, did he give you an idea of what he would require, given the information that you have now?
Well, he said that regarding the stormwater management report, I asked him if we had to do that. And he said, yes, but it could be extremely simple, a couple paragraphs. That's really all as technical as we got.
Okay, the point is you just want to resolve that with the city engineer. You're on the right track. Just
Thank you.
finish getting that done. And ideally, if you have that information and his acceptable, his sign off before the next meeting, we can entertain a motion to approve. From having seen many of these before, you're not adversely impacting the wetlands, in my opinion. I would open it up for discussion from the commissioners, but providing that you're complying with the intentions of how you're presenting the information this evening, it does not appear to have any impact that would be an adverse impact to the wetlands. So
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to try to get this survey done as soon as possible and the stormwater management report. I've spoken to someone, hopefully get a quote tonight, and hopefully we'll approve it right away and move forward.
yeah, our next meeting is in a couple weeks, but if you're not ready, we can always entertain your application following meeting as well. So
Okay.
we'll move it at the pace as and when you're ready to come back before us.
Okay, and we had tried to get Steve Danzer on the line tonight and he was unable. We won't need him in the future, the soil.
Mary Rose, do you think there's any need for him to add anything further to the record?
No, his report's fairly straightforward. The wetland is right along this line, this line here.
Okay.
And it drops off fairly quickly, as you can see in the photos, if I can get that up. And it goes right to the stream right on the other side of it. So it drops off right here. So there's no question that his line is accurate.
Sorry, back to the commissioners, are there any other questions? Otherwise, we can move on.
Don't have any.
Commissioner Munson?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, through you, just sort of a question for the commission. I think everything is sort of preliminary here. I think when the applicant talks to all the people they need to talk to, do you think perhaps we would schedule a site walk to look at a plan here? I mean, do you think there's going to be anything that would be sufficiently impactful to the wetlands for that? I always raise that question.
Yep. I'll answer and I'll invite others to answer. Well, I'll actually invite others to answer because I've already weighed in on this. So who wants to answer Steve's question? Anybody? Mr. Connors, would you like to answer?
We need a site walk. It sounds like it could be a normal house raising with the addition of a deck with sonotubes. So
Yeah, it's pretty typical. We've done many of these in the past, in my view, and I don't see anything unique that would warrant a sidewalk. And I don't think it would help the process at all. It would just protract the process. So I'm in favor of, making this as easy as possible for the applicants.
If they get the drainage report and the rest of what they need, I think it's pretty straightforward, in my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Connors. And I'm seeing some others nodding. So any other questions that you may have, Ms. Quinlan, before we move on to our next agenda item?
No, I think I'm okay. I may have to go and bother Mary Rose again at some point in time, but I'm gonna eventually attack the application myself. I don't know if I'll be capable, but thank you to everybody. I was quite nervous and we're quite concerned, and I feel a little bit better. A little bit better.
It's a great investment. It's your asset. We'll make
I
sure.
hope so.
We'll guide you through the process that you need to and the checks that you need to go through from our perspective. So
Thank you so much. So we should probably drop off now.
you're welcome to. Yeah, we're going to go on to other business.
Okay. Thank you very much to everybody, and especially Mary Rose, and thank you to everybody. And I'm really glad I went in the other day, because I didn't even know I had to see I didn't know I need to see the city engineer. So again, learning every day. Okay. Thank you so much.
Resource.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to next item on the agenda. That would be item
E,
E.
minutes of the next meeting.
Yes, consideration of the minutes for the previous meeting, which actually was February 1st. We've had a couple of cancellations. So welcome back, everybody. Do we have a motion to accept the meetings from February 1st as presented?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Don't be bashful out there.
I'll second.
Okay. I believe Mr. Munson was the first, and I believe it's important that you have to be there to make the motion or to second the motion. So technically.
Okay, never mind.
I'll second that, Brendan.
I think, okay, so Lisa, as you.
I got it.
You got it.
I got
So
it.
the motion's been made and seconded. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor? Oh, can't do that anymore. Lisa, please call the roll.
Daniel Bedecker,
Aye.
Jim Connors. Jim.
Aye.
Heather Donaldson Gladue,
Aye.
Steve Munson,
Aye.
Lisa Tryon, and Julie Valvo, I'm assuming abstain,
Yes.
and Brendan Magan.
I'm in favor of the motion. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to staff report. Mary Rose, take us through the staff report, please.
Alrighty. There is still a proposed bill, although I spoke to Representative Smith the other evening regarding inland wetlands commissioners being trained. I was happy to see when I was working on your synopsises that everybody, including Julie, has been trained. So we're already compliant. Representative Smith isn't sure how far that bill is going to go this session, but it is out there, but we're in good shape. Just a reminder, and it's in the notes with a link that was sent to you yesterday, that Taft created a reference page for you to access. Has all our meeting dates, the regulations, the bylaws, the ethics guideline, past memos from the city attorney on legal questions and cases that are good for you to have be familiar with, training opportunities with DEEP and the Connecticut Land Use Commissioners training, our webpage, the YouTube channel for these meetings, if you want to go back and relive them, and then the link, the typical Zoom link to this meeting. So you can always get to that from your last meeting notes. You know that we've been working on the SCROG multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. You'll be happy to know that FEMA accepted it on Monday and the Board of Aldermen approved it on Monday evening. So we are good in shape with that. The annual FEMA community rating system was accepted by FEMA in February. And the annual MS4 filing got off on time to deep last week. So we've got all those things out. Office has been working on some inquiries. We had some complaints, some minor reviews. We're checking on sites for spring to make sure all their silt fences are in place. We get some rains, they'll be all set to go. We've got some sites that are starting up. And we continue to accept digital applications through City Squared and try to work with Municity and Joe Griffith to get IWA fully incorporated into the Municity software. Site status is in the draft notes. Do you want me to go through each site, or are you good with the notes? All right. And if you're not going to be able to attend a meeting, if you can just give me a call, let me know, or send me an email, just so that I can ensure that we have a quorum. And I apologize, I did it earlier on, but to introduce Julie Valvo, who's our new commissioner. To everyone, I don't know how they are on your screen, Julie, but I think you've started to learn faces to names.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. And does anyone have any questions for me?
Mary Rose,
Yes, Steve?
Pepe's Farms Road
Mhm.
project.
Oh,
And
yeah.
as I remember, there was a question on when we were approving that about the number of plantings, bushes, I think, that were needed, and we approved the maximum number. Is the problem that with the erosion, if I'm looking at your note here, is the problem with the erosion because those plants weren't sufficient, or it was in a different part of the plan? I don't know if you remember.
It's a different part of the plan that
Okay.
the person who's living in the home, who is not the owner, had some orders against them from health and zoning for storage of excessive materials on site. And in an effort to put things in, take things out, they tore up the snow shelf in front of the home. And I can share.
As I remember, if I remember correctly, the plantings were in the back of the home, correct?
Right. On the screen now, the home is here.
Right.
As you can see, there's a lot of things in the yard, which aren't typically allowed.
Right.
And there's trucks and such parked in the snow shelf on the street. Our plantings and the work that we required were along here.
Right.
And those are in and doing well. There's 2 trees that need to be planted. And those are going to be planted in the spring.
Okay.
But the excessive parking on and off this snow shelf has eroded all the vegetation off the snow shelf. And so now it's just open. And when you get to this end where my mouse is, there's a steep, as you can see from the contours, there's a steep drop. And the rain just comes and the debris can go, soil and debris can go down into the wetland, or it gets into a catch basin here that runs into a creek that goes in over here. So I was on site with health and zoning, noticed the erosion problem. It took a few weeks for them to get it in correctly. They have hay bales now. They're functioning. I check them on a regular basis to make sure they're not run over and they're still working. They're working through the problem with the health department and zoning to see what they are allowed to do on this area. If they can park there all the time, if they can't park there. If they can park there, I'd prefer to have this stoned so that and stabilized so that we don't have a continual erosion issue.
Okay. But
And that will be worked through.
everything we required was done.
Right. Yeah. There's the next monitoring port is in May, and I think the last one would be in November.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mary Rose, for the overview, and I like your addition with the monitoring reports on the table. That's something you recently added. And congrats on all of the FEMA acceptance based on all the hard work that you guys did on that.
That was Joe working long and hard on his portions of it.
It's
Oh, he's
great.
off the phone. We don't even have to compliment him.
I'm sure you had a lot to do with it, from what I can recall. All right, so chair's report. Unless there's any other questions for Mary Rose, chair's report. Next meeting, April 19th. The only other thing to add is a big welcome to Commissioner Valvo. Valvo?
Elbow, yes, thank you.
Just trying to get that
Thank you.
last name down.
Welcome aboard.
Happy to be here.
It's great that you're already trained. It's impressive. I don't know how you did
Thank
it.
you.
Did you do that during the cancellation of times that we had?
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you for joining, and thanks everybody for your time and for the deliberation this evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Brandon.
Do we have a second?
I'll
on this?
second that. Woohoo!
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye,
Sorry, I keep forgetting.
roll call.
Lisa has to do a roll call
Daniel Bedecker,
out of practice.
Aye.
Jim Connors,
Aye,
Heather Donaldson Gladue,
Aye.
Steve Munson,
Aye.
Lisa Tryon,
Aye.
Julie Valvo,
Aye.
Brendan Magnan.
Aye, the motion carries unanimously. Have a good evening. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night,
Good night.
good night, all.
aye.
Blessing, we're all done. You can turn off.